Hey, what's up, guys? Peter here once again. I got a DIY over here that's ah, pretty disappointing, to be honest with you. Um, as you guys know, if you guys have been a part of my DIY channel here, when I work on cars, I've worked on this car a few times. This is a 2004 S500 Mercedes W220 chassis. Um, I had a problem with my AC before, and I changed the blower regulator on it, and it fixed the problem. This was about 2 years ago, and I seldom drive this car, so I would say about give or take 3,000 miles since I changed it. Anyway, a couple months ago, I went somewhere and it was like about 105 degrees out. So I was cranking the AC and I started smelling a burnt plastic smell, like a plastic was melting smell. So the first thing that popped into my head was a blower regulator. So I went ahead and started ordering blower regulators. First, I took it apart, but the unusual thing is, the regulator did not smell like something was burnt. You know, if plastic was burnt before, it'll smell like burnt plastic. So, needless to say, I was kind of skeptical at that. So, anyway, I just went ahead and ordered parts. I ordered the blower regulator. Well, I come here, I plug it in, and it's not working. So, I went and started troubleshooting it. I looked at the voltmeter. I checked with the voltmeter to see the feed, the the connector that's going into the regulator, and it was live. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys that right now. All right, guys. I'm not gonna show you guys how I took the panel apart. It's actually quite simple. I mean, there's only a couple screws that cover the panel here. But I want to show you guys something. This particular model, my car, has a 3-wire connector here. Okay, a red yellow stripe, a brown, and it's kind of hard to see. Let me get a light. I'll show you so I can show you guys. Okay, so there, that's a lot better. And then you got this green and gray wire. Okay, let me explain something to you guys. On some models, it would have 4 wires, but in my model, there's only 3. And this red and yellow wire is a live 12-volt wire, meaning this always has power regardless if the engine is running or not. This, of course, is the ground, and this would be the switch trigger from the center console. Okay, so when you check for power, okay, when the engine's on and you turn on the blower, this right here will vary from 0 volts to 6 volts depending on what speed you have it. That's how you could tell if your center console, your control system, is working. If you have it probed at positive here and you ground it here on your regular voltmeter, which is what I have here, okay, if it's not registering as you click up on the speed, the fan speed, then you have a problem with your center console. Well, that's not my case because I checked all that. I did, however, kept on checking the current on this wire, which is the live wire, and this brown, which is a negative, and I had a constant 13, close to 13 volts. Okay, so here I am trying to troubleshoot. So I bought one of these. I returned it. I bought one of these. This is another one, and they were all not working. Okay, and as soon as you get to like 3, there's another problem. So I decided to check for resistance. The way I did it, okay, and I'm sure a lot of people would have different ways. This is how I do it in a simple matter, okay? I probed my voltmeter to the positive here and the negative here, and it was showing 12 to 13 volts, okay? Now, what I did was I also connected the blower motor. This is the blower motor, positive, negative right here. Okay, I also probed it directly to the live red and yellow and brown negative while connected to the voltmeter. When I did that, the voltage dropped on my voltmeter. So I know that there's a problem with resistance. Now I want to let you guys know, when there's a resistance problem in a power source and the voltage drains, like it drops from like 12 or 13 down, you have a problem and it should be addressed. Okay, so I started doing research on recalls on blower motor, blah blah blah, on this. Okay, and everything that I only pulled up was from 2000. I had a HVAC problem, a blower regulator fuse problem. So I went ahead and checked my fuse. They said that the fuse issue on the W220 has been resolved. I beg to differ. See that? Right there, let me zoom in. That was my fuse to my blower fan. This were the pieces that I recovered. They're all melted. I couldn't even take it out without breaking it. Okay, it's that bad. So now I'm thinking that was the smell that I was smelling when I was at that place that I was at, when I was started smelling burnt plastic. Okay, so what am I gonna do? Option one, take it to the dealer and pay like, who knows what, 1,500 bucks for them to fix this. Two, run my own wire and bypass this fuse block. Okay, I already know that the power source is directly from the battery. That's a live wire that's going into my blower regulator. So what I'm gonna do, what I've decided to do, okay, this is my personal thing that I'm gonna do, is that I don't want to dump the money on it. I don't want to put a used fuse block on it, because it's probably gonna have the same exact problem. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run my own wire to feed that live 12 volt wire that leads to the voltage regulator, the blower regulator. Now I know why my blower regulator was burning out this past couple years, because the resistance. When resistance happens, heat happens, and electrical components suffer from it. And therefore, since the resistance is so high, especially when I have the AC blasting, it'll draw a lot of current and it's going to heat up the wires. I'm just glad that nothing else burned out. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to disable that fuse number 33, which is the AC blower motor fuse, which is a 40 amp, and I'm going to run my own wire from the kick panel of the passenger side to my blower motor, blower regulator, to feed the regulator that's live. But I'm also going to fuse it. Well, I used to build systems, so this came in handy. Okay, there's a fuse, and this is what, 8 gauge wire. So this should be able to handle the current that the blower motor demands. Therefore, it's going to prevent my regulator from heating up, and that should solve my problem. Okay, I don't think there's any relays between the positive to the live feed, because if there was a relay, it would not be a live wire. We'll see, okay? And then I'll go from there. But I refuse to spend another $1,000 or $1,500. And by the way, the car is paid for. I don't. It's not like I'm gonna trade it in. I want to keep the car. You know, I'm basically trying to keep the car so that until it becomes, you know, who knows, maybe a classic one day. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I have right now, and I'm gonna show you guys how I do it. All right. So the first thing you want to do, we got a 12 millimeter here. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a 10. I'm gonna take off this kick panel because we need to access the back of this panel so we could tap into the live wire. All right, guys, now that it's open, what you want to do is probe, you see, that's the live wire that's coming straight from the battery, and this is like a distribution block. Okay, obviously all of these connect to this is like a distribution block. So all of these are all live wires, all positives, live wires. What you want to do is tap into this one. This, you know what, I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to tap into this, and I'm going to simply connect it to this yellow and red, okay, on the wire that's coming from the engine bay. But that's how I'm going to bypass it. I'm going to go ahead and snip this. I'm going to cut this wire, and the part that's going to the engine, I'm just going to cap it, and then the part that's going to the voltage regulator, I mean the blower regulator, I'm going to direct it to here via fuse. So here's my fuse block, okay? Before you connect this, you want to remove the fuse so that in an event that you accidentally touch the chassis of the car, which is a negative, you'll be safe. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, you also might want to test it, okay? And so that's what I'm going to do. Alright guys, so what I did was that I just put an alligator clip there just to test it out to show you guys. So I already snipped that end of the power source, so I'm going direct to that area right there. Okay, and here it is. You hear the fan? It's working. You see that? All speeds. So that shows you right there that that was my issue. I'm gonna take this off because that wasn't even protected with fuse, which is really dumb. But again, you guys, that right there will show you. My light's already flickering, it's probably running out of batteries. That'll show you right there that, like I said, the reason why I'm disappointed is because these are good cars, you know, and I know that they had a problem with the 2000s, but this is an 04, and this didn't even make it a part of the recall, and I guess the replacement part that they put, it's still bogus. So look, I even put RIP 82916 thinking that this was a burned out regulator, and then I bought another one. It's still good, so I'm just gonna put this on, and I'll just keep the other one as a spare, I guess. I don't know, I'm pretty upset about it, but what can I do? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap into that source. I'm gonna run this, hide it behind that panel, and go from there. All right guys, so this is how I did it. It's already kind of dark, so I had to bring out my spotlight so I can show you guys. So I connected this fuse block right here to there, okay, to its own 10 gauge line, and then I dropped it to a 12 gauge from the end of the fuse block directly to the connector that's going to go to the blower regulator. I capped the existing wire that's coming from the engine originally right there, that yellow cap, but it's also not snipped, so double safety on that. Now as far as the engine bay, I'm just going to leave the fuse off, and it shouldn't have any problems because it's a live wire, but you know, it's not going anywhere, so it shouldn't have any problems. I have it rated right here at 40 amps, the same as the existing one that was there before. This is a waterproof fuse block, so I know it's going to be safe. And like I said, I used to build systems. Here, I'll give you guys a closer look. There it is right there. I used to build systems as a teenager back in the days, many years ago. So I know that that's safe. It is a live wire, which is in a system, in a sound system, it also is a live wire. So I know it's safe. And yeah, I'm gonna go from there. I already tested the voltage here, it's good. I'm gonna go ahead and do another test for you guys just to see, just to make sure that what I did works. All right, here we go. All right guys, that's the regulator. I have it plugged in already, and here's my control. I'm gonna turn it on now. The fan is going. That's on level 1. Okay, and level 2, level 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. That's max. So yeah, needless to say, it's working, guys. All right, so there you have it. That's all I did, and hopefully I'm not gonna have any more problems. I don't, I don't feel any of the wires heating up, because like I said, the resistance is really low now, especially since I have a really strong feed to it. Now I'm gonna advise you guys, okay, what I did right here is out of the ordinary. This is stuff that you kind of have to have a little bit of experience on electronics and stuff. Just make sure you're really careful. I did not disconnect the battery, which I would actually advise that you do, but the reason why I didn't is because I don't have an OnStar tool to reset everything on the car in an event that it restarts, which it will. And again, you guys, the only reason why I did this is because I do not want to spend over $1,000 for Mercedes to change the fuse box, and we already know that it's a faulty fuse box. It's been happening on all their S classes and E classes, ML, since 2000, the year 2000. I love Euros, but I must admit that when it comes to electrical, Euros do have a lot of issues. Again, I don't advise anybody that's not a little bit mechanically inclined, or at least have some kind of knowledge in electronics, to do these types of jobs, because if you make a mistake, you could end up burning your car, or shorting out a lot of the stuff here, and it can get risky. But as you guys could see, as a precaution, I do have it fused, and I am disappointed with the way this was done with Mercedes, because this is something that they should have fixed already, since there was a recall on the early 2000s S-Class. You guys could look it up yourself on these blower regulators, and that, in my opinion, that's the reason why they fail prematurely. Because again, when it comes to electronic parts, resistance is a big thing, especially in circuits like these blower regulators right here. So now I have a spare, and I did pay close to $100 for this, which is still a good deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and use my existing one because it's good. And yeah, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together. So again, this thing that I put together, it sits right underneath this aluminum kick plate where the main line is. There's the main line, that right there. And for a lot of people are probably gonna be like, oh well, he's gonna disturb the electricity that's flowing into. Well, guess what, guys, these wires right here go straight into the fuse block, and all I did was literally bypass a wire, a thick one. Look, it's even thicker than the one that's going to feed the whole fuse block. Okay, I put a thicker one, gold plated, waterproof case. That's even more waterproof than the one that's on the car, and it goes straight in direct. That's a direct source that goes to here. Okay, so that's how I did it, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together, and I'm gonna show you guys when everything's finished. Alright guys, it's all complete. I've closed off everything. All the bolts and screws are all put in. And just to let you guys know, I have been running this air for about 35 minutes now. And I had it for about 15 minutes on low, because this is supposed to be the highest resistance between the source and the regulator and the blower. So here you go. There it is, max. I'm sure you could hear that. It's actually a lot stronger than it was before. It's big difference, you guys. Anyway, I also went ahead and turned it off, and I checked by pressing rest and active charcoal button. And see here, look for codes, diagnostic error, none. Okay, so everything is done, everything is fixed. I have tested it, and again, you guys, I only recommend this type of job for people, you know, if you know how to solder properly, if you know a little bit about electrical. Comment down below if you have any concerns or anything like that. Again, I am very anal when it comes to my work. The stuff that I do to my cars, I am very precise when I work on cars. I make sure it's all safety. Again, I did not disconnect the battery because I didn't want my computer to reset. I do not have an OnStar tool. Here's a proof for you that I've had this car idling for a long time. You see my MPG? 2.4 MPG. Oh, there it is. 57 minutes. So I've had this car idling for that long. And I was playing around with the knobs and everything. Everything works. So you guys, if your fuse burns out and you know a little bit about soldering and electronics, just run a whole new source to it. Make sure you take out the fuse. If it's burned in, at least remove it so that nothing else touches it. Use a really safe fuse block and test it out, you guys. Again, this is my disclaimer. I do not recommend this just for anybody to do. I am keeping this car. This car is paid for. It's not a lease. It's my car. And I know what I'm doing. And so, again, if you have any concerns, if you have any questions, comment down below. This is a family channel, so if you guys can, please click like and subscribe. I will put a link on all my W220 jobs that I've done so far, like valve cover, gasket change, and you know, stuff like what else did I do to this car? I did the blower regulator on this car in 2014, and like I said, I think the reason why that burned out is because of the high resistance that was getting put out because of a bad line. Again, it's a shame that Mercedes never fixed the problem, but I fixed it. And that's it, you guys. Click like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll talk to you guys soon, and see you on the next video.